Hi, I'm Alton Thompson. I'm at National Elan University, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about building vocabulary. It's a big challenge to think about how to add increasing amounts of words in a target language that we're trying to learn. And I wanted to share a few strategies that have been shown to work very well, and I hope these will be useful to you. So the topic today then is building vocabulary. Right away, in learning anything, if we want to remember, it's good to associate it with a picture. So if I want you to remember the title of the presentation, if you are familiar with DALO, building, then it's building vocabulary. There's a picture of a building, and I show you that picture. It's more likely to stay in your head. And then our memory picks it up not only by sound, by word, verbally, but also graphically, pictorially, as a picture. Different people have different learning styles. Some people will learn more graphically and by pictures and favor this way. Other people will be more skilled with picking it up verbally or by sound. And we all have different mixes as far as what our strengths are. So the more ways we can bring a word into our brain, the better. The more we can feel it on our skin, the more we can hear it in our ears, the more we can see it in our eyes. All of these things will help us absorb it in a way that we won't forget. The biggest part of building vocabulary is really training memory. If we can remember all the words that we first learned the meaning of and then we wrote down, the faster we can remember it, the sooner we will learn a new language. Alright, so associating with a picture is one way to help it stay in the memory. And when I say a picture, not always just visually. It could be some idea that in your imagination you can feel on your skin, hear as a sound, taste, anything like this that goes into our five senses that makes a vivid impression on your memory and your brain is good and will help retain vocabulary. Do you remember the title of the presentation? Alright, let's take a word that we want to learn. Let's say I'm trying to remember in English this word prediction. If we predict something, it means we say before it happens that it will. We say before the Chicago Cubs win the World Series in baseball, that the Chicago Cubs will win the World Series in baseball. That would be a remarkable prediction just a week ago. But if we want to remember that word, we have a couple of ways we can go about it. First, I first see this word, I don't know it, I say, well, what does it sound like? Well, it sounds like the word dictionary. So I see that there's a relationship here, D-I-C-T, dictionary, prediction. There's some relationship here. I may not know what it is, but it already connects with something I know the sound of, and I can hear this sound in my mind. Actually, what's going on is the word dict is from Latin, and it means writing. Pict for picture was to see. Dict, D-I-C-T, is for writing, and all the words that we get out of that have something to do with that originally. But you don't have to know that. All you have to know is, if I want to learn this word, I'm going to say, well, that sounds like something I know. Prediction, dictionary. So I'll remember this, dictionary. I associate the word with something I already know. Now, I've worked on the sound. What about the meaning? Well, prediction is saying something is going to happen before it happens. I can say, this will happen, and it's almost as if I can write it down before it has really taken place. Well, what kind of image comes to mind for the meaning? For the meaning, I think of almost anything that might have to do with telling the future. Maybe the image is someone with a crystal ball, or maybe some other way of telling the future that sticks in our minds. So I might create an image in my head of maybe a crystal ball sitting on a dictionary, and now I remember this word. I remember the sound, and I remember what it means. in one picture in my head. A crystal ball sitting on a dictionary. I could also do this with the word. First, I take the basic word that I'm trying to learn. I want to remember the verb, predict, and I want to remember the noun that comes from it, prediction. To forecast, say before it happens, foretell the future. Alright, I can start with all the words I can think of that sound a bit like that and create a family or a cloud around it. So, this cloud, or what a language teacher might call it, the semantic map, as the linguist would say. We would say from predict and prediction, what are some things that we just associate? This could be very free. We can write this down on paper, we can use colored ink, we can get as graphic and pictorial with it, visual as we want. And the more we do that, the better. But here's just a start that I put here on the slide. From predict or prediction, we can go up there and say, well, dictate. Dictate is you tell somebody what to write down. And from that we get dictation, telling somebody what to write down. A CEO who's giving a note that someone else is writing down may say, please take dictation. I want to dictate a letter. We get the word dictator from this. That's a leader who tells us everything we're supposed to do and doesn't give us very much choice. As if everything, every choice, were written down for us. But then if we go up another way through the cloud, of course, we already had the word dictionary. And dictionary is, as I said, it goes back to the idea of writing, but we already know it sounds like this word that we want to learn. Well, another part of the word we want to learn is that beginning part, pre. What words do we know that might connect with that? Well, we probably already know the word preview. And we might have quite a few other words that have pre in there, but if you enjoy watching previews of movies, then you know this one. The first time we see a show, the first time a movie is shown, maybe, it's the premiere, comes from French. And then we get words related to that. Prime is something that's very important, of first importance. And from prime we get primary. In English, sometimes, in some countries, an elementary school is called a primary school. It's the first school you go to, where you learn all the basic first things that will serve you for the rest of your life in school. So all of these things are related, and we see these family relationships. This is not only helping us understand the word we want to learn, predict and prediction. It's also helping us understand the relationships of words we already know. If we remember the words we already know and the new word we want to learn, each one tends to feed the other, and we are far more likely to remember it and use these words. We're also far more likely to understand new words when we see them without needing to look in the dictionary. Another way to help us learn vocabulary is to take new words that we find and get them in pairs. The human brain works where we hear things in opposites, night and day, left and right, north and south, and so on. Almost any word that we're going to learn will have some sort of an opposite implied. If we can grab both of those, then now we know two words, and then the better we're able to remember one of them, we've got the other one. So here I've written down a few of the opposite pairs that we might run across. If we were trying to remember the word chaos, maybe we already know the word order, which is its opposite, and we can think of those as a pair and bring those together. Some other words, general and specific. When someone is speaking generally, they're speaking about a large subject. Specific, they're speaking about details. If we can remember one of these and make it where we can remember the other, we will get a lot of more words around that. Specifically, species, generally, in general, and other expressions like this. Another opposite pair I have here, temporary and permanent. Temporary is something that is just there for a short time. Permanent is something that is there for a long time, in theory at least forever, or at least for the foreseeable future. And another pair, horizontal and vertical. Now these words are describing some ideas that are a little more abstract. That is, they don't lend themselves right away to pictures. So we have to think about pictures when we're trying to remember them. Alright, so we'll take a look at how this works. First, we learn the opposite pairs, so that when we hear horizontal, we also know vertical. When we hear permanent, we also know temporary. Let's say I want to remember temporary, permanent. If I can get a picture for just one word, then I can get both. For me, I remember temporary because it sounds a little bit like the word tent. And a tent is a place that is not like your house. It's not like your apartment. It's not a place you stay for many years. It's a place you stay for a little while, one night, one afternoon, on a camping trip that's just a short time. So tent goes with temporary. Is there a relationship with the words? Without looking at the dictionary, maybe I don't know right away, but I know they sound alike and I'll remember it. So I have a picture of the idea of temporary. And since I've learned pairs, as soon as I remember tent, temporary, and which one it is, then I know which one permanent is and what permanent means. Permanent will be the building. Permanent will be the house or something that stays there for a long time. Or let's say I want to remember horizontal, vertical, and I keep thinking, oh, which direction is that? Horizontal and vertical. Which way? Which one? I'm not sure I remember. If I can connect one of those words with a direction, I've got both of them. So horizontal is actually from the word horizon. Horizon would be where the sky meets the earth, and that goes that direction. As soon as I remember horizontal is connected with horizon, that's the one that goes this way, and I have a picture in my head, then I remember what vertical is. And I know that tower there is vertical, and I have the word for it. So, learning opposite pairs is a great way to help you remember something, because if you have a picture or an association with just one word, you can grab the second, and you get two for one with your picture. Alright, let's say you really want to drill this. You want to get with friends and you want to try these out and give yourself some exercise. You can take all these ideas and put them together. So I'm making a knowledge card or a vocabulary card. This is one approach that some people learning languages might try. You have the vocabulary word you want to remember, written in the largest possible print in the middle. Here it's prediction. In the upper right, you have the definition by the dictionary. What is prediction? And define it in words you know. Describing the future, or foretelling, telling before. Then, we put the opposite on the other side. Alright, the opposite of foretelling would be, well, what would you think? Perhaps it would be looking back, or describing something that has already happened. If you're already familiar with the word, you could write the word hindsight, something you see when you look back. It would be the opposite of something you see when you look forward. Whatever it is that gets the idea, there it is, and it's on the card. And just as right and left are opposites, you remember that these are opposite definitions. Then, in the bottom corners, I think of the visual image I want to remember. So, perhaps something to remind me. Oh yeah, a crystal ball sitting on a dictionary. Crystal ball tells me seeing something before, the meaning. The dictionary tells me what does the word sound like. In one picture, I get both. I just write a little reminder there in the corner. So prediction, crystal ball in the dictionary, oh yeah, that's what the word is. And because we're not just visual learners, we also learn verbally, take that picture and make it a word picture. Put that on the left side. So on the left side, just one sentence that gives us our word picture. Our word picture would be here in this case, I knew the word before I opened the dictionary. Now, in that sentence, I have the word dictionary, reminds me of prediction, and how it sounds. I knew the word before I opened the dictionary. I was foretelling. So I also have the meaning. In one sentence, I can catch the picture and all of my ideas around it. The word has many ways to go into my brain and stay there. So this is one way you can get one card to do a lot of work for you. And you can make variations from this card as you're working with exercises with friends and getting practice. Working with partners and working with friends is a great way to learn vocabulary. And you can use the card in a variety of ways. You could show a card, hold your finger over the definition, and ask your friend to guess the definition. Or you could ask each other to guess the opposites. Or you could cover the word and just show the pictures at the bottom of the card, and your friend has to guess what the word is just from those pictures that you've worked out. You can work this a variety of ways, but the goal, of course, is as soon as possible, we don't need the card anymore. Our brain is taking care of all that for us, and it will be surprising how quickly this can happen. And above all, in learning new vocabulary, the best thing you can do is read. We really get the meaning of words from the context in which we find them, all the words around them. How are people using it? So reading, reading, reading helps new words go in, often without us even noticing they're going in, because we're enjoying the story we read and we're enjoying the news we're finding out. By the way, reading doesn't always have to be the news, and it doesn't always have to be a book. This could be subtitles in a movie. This could be the lyrics to a song if you enjoy singing karaoke or if you play guitar. There are many ways to get reading into your drill of learning new words. When we enjoy a song, when we enjoy a movie, we want to know what the characters are singing and saying. Then we are more likely to take those words in and remember them. So read in every way that you can, and that's the best way, always the best way for new vocabulary to go in. So, working with friends, working with partners, working with pictures, working with images that you can feel on your skin, see in front of your eyes, hear with your ears, taste, anything that makes a sensory impression will go into us. And in this way, we can, do you remember the title of the presentation? In this way, we can build vocabulary and become more comfortable in our target language. Pretty soon, it's feeling very natural. Thank you for joining me today, and good luck with it.